Make sure you stay until after this video to learn more about this story. You better, or else. I won't do a damn thing, but you better. As a freshman in high school, I didn't have friends. I felt like I just couldn't connect with any of the other guys in my class. I really didn't mind much. I had the occasional case of bullying, but nothing too extreme. Towards the end of the school year, we had a new student transfer in. His name was Sean. We first met in the hallway on our way to second period. One of the jocks had knocked his books out of his hands and I helped him pick them up. Sean seemed pretty timid and avoided eye contact. He only responded with one-word answers to the questions I asked, such as his name and if he was okay. We both made our way to class and that was the extent of our first run-in. A couple of weeks before summer break, we had our second run-in. Our school was having a fundraiser for the local homeless population. It was fairly apparent neither of us really cared to be there. I really don't have compassion for the homeless. In my eyes, they put themselves in that position. The worst kinds are the ones that beg for help. I have no pity for people playing the victim. You are the one who decides your fate. Once I noticed Sean was putting off the same disinterest, I made my way over to him. I asked him if him and his family had just moved to the area. No. I asked him where he went to school prior. Home. I took a moment to look around the room. I hated being around people. I would have much rather been at home in my room. I turned back to Sean and asked him if he had any interest in helping people. No. I told him I didn't either. I explained my feelings on the topic and he made eye contact with me for the first time. There was something about his stare that kept me captivated. It had an extremely cold and dead feeling, and that was something I wasn't used to seeing. After a brief moment, he was the one to break the silence. What are you doing tomorrow after school? I was a little surprised he finally said more than one word and even asked a question. I told him my plans were to go home and avoid people. That answer brought a smile to his face and he stated that I should come over to his place. At first, the idea of going to his place wasn't appealing, but I figured since he was putting off a vibe I was quite enjoying, I would go with him. The following day after school, Sean was waiting for me outside my final period. I greeted him and he simply replied with, "Follow me." I followed him as he led the way to his house located a mile or two from the school. We walked inside and the first thing I noticed was the lack of furniture. It looked as if they had just moved in. I could even see boxes stacked neatly in the corner. Sean walks down the hall without saying a word, so I instinctively follow. Once we enter what I assume is his bedroom, he closes and locks the door behind me. He looks at me straight in the eyes with his cold and dead gaze and tells me that anything I see or talk about there must always stay there. I agreed and wasn't really weirded out since I too am someone who values my privacy. He instructed me to sit on his bed and he made his way over to his wall of personally labeled VHS tapes. He looks over them before taking one off the shelf and moving towards the TV/VHS combo on the dresser. He puts the tape in and sits next to me on the bed without saying a word. We both stare at the blank screen for a few seconds before a bunch of static comes on the screen. I can't make anything out, so I look at him. He doesn't remove his stare from the TV. I start to make out some sort of sound among the static. At first, I thought it was a heavy wind. I looked back at the screen just as the sound started to become more clear. It was a man screaming. The image started to clear up and I saw a man being held down by 5 people wearing weird masks. Just picture a simple mask from a burlap sack with a smiley face drawn on it in permanent marker. The feeling inside me watching this wasn't exactly what I expected. I wasn't made uncomfortable or even mildly turned off by it. I found myself more curious than anything. From that moment on, my eyes were glued to the screen and my life was changed forever. One person from the group stood up and removed his mask. He addressed the group as well as the man. "You all know what needs to be done. To keep our family strong and growing, we must help our brother complete his journey. Support our brother in his time of trial." At first, I thought he was referring to the man being restrained as brother. That was immediately cleared up when another man walked into the room not wearing a mask and was promptly handed a knife. The person addressing the group replaced his mask and all of them started at once chanting, "We are here for you, brother." The unmasked man walked beside the restrained man and knelt down. In one swift motion, he brought the knife down hard, plunging it in the man's stomach and slashed him open as if he were gutting him. With my eyes still glued to the screen, I felt a smile creep across my face as I watched the next events unfold. The unmasked man places the knife beside him, and as if he was punching the guy in the gut, he thrust his arm up and inside of the man. It was one of the oddest things I have ever seen. It wasn't disturbing in the slightest, just odd looking, to see another man elbow deep inside another man's chest cavity. It felt oddly satisfying to see. After fishing around inside the guy, the unmasked man swiftly removes his arm holding a bloody mass in his hand. You can't quite make it out at first, but the camera slowly zooms in to reveal that he was holding the other man's heart. The man on the ground was still, to my surprise, screaming and attempting to thrash as his own heart was being held in front of his face. The gutted man stops struggling and grows silent. The guy who had originally addressed the group once again removes his mask and speaks to the guy still dripping in blood. "Welcome to the family," he says as he hands the guy a mask. The video cuts off promptly and we both sit there in silence. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Sean turn to face me. I too turn to face him. Our eyes meet and he says, "So?" I replied with a, "So what?" "What did you think?" "I thought it was interesting. What am I supposed to think about it?" He stares at me for a moment before a knock on the door breaks the silence and makes me jump. He stands up to unlock the door and opens it, revealing something I wasn't expecting. A man wearing the same type of mask I just saw in the video walks in the room. I stand up quickly, but do not attempt to escape. Sean looks at me and smiles. "So? So what?" His smile fades as he asks, "Do you want in the family?" It's hard to explain how I felt in that moment. It wasn't quite joy, but it was the closest I had ever come to joy. The video had the opposite effect on me than it would on most. Rather than how most people would be extremely put off by a video like that, I was turned on. Not in a sexual way, but more in a curious excitement kind of way. There was something about the way life drains from someone that intrigued me more than I thought it would. It was comforting. The masked man standing in the room removes his mask, and I immediately recognize him as the one who had previously welcomed a member to the family in the video. I look at them and without hesitation reply, "Yes." They both smile and the man walks out. Sean tells me that I should stay at his place. I ask to use his landline so I can notify my parents. They weren't the type to care or probably even notice I was gone, but still I gave them the heads up I wouldn't be home that night. After I got off the phone, I asked Sean why he trusted me enough to not run to the cops. He told me that I wouldn't have made it that far, and to follow him. He led me to another room in the house. This one was almost completely empty with hardwood floors. In the middle of the floor, drawn in what looked to be dried blood, was a symbol, like a smiling face with a line drawn through it. Along the walls were a lot of candles. Sean instructed me to kneel in the middle of the floor. Once I was knelt down, two masked people entered the room. I recognized the clothing of the first to enter. It was the man from the video and the bedroom. The second person was soon revealed to be Sean's mom, and the man was identified as his father. His father then started stating how they are a family of love and acceptance. Each member of the family plays a role, and is to follow that role at all times. Leaving the family is only done under one circumstance. I didn't need that circumstance explained to understand what it meant. I started hearing shuffling outside the room and was instructed to turn around. I did as I was told and just listened. A muffled moaning started to be heard as well as the sound of many feet. I heard the unmistakable sound of someone being slammed on the ground, followed by whimpers and begging. I was then instructed to turn around and face everyone. As I faced everyone, the overwhelming feeling of déjà vu washed over me. I realized that I was literally living what I had just witnessed on tape. I felt a rush of adrenaline, and for the first time that I can remember, I felt pure joy. It was a feeling that took me by surprise, to say the least. My heart felt like it was lifting out of my chest, and I felt like I could explode from excitement. Never in my life had I felt more alive than in that moment. As the tingling feeling washed over me like waves on a shore, I listened as Sean's father removed his mask and addressed the group. "We have a new member of the family today. Our new brother needs your support on this special day. We are all here to serve one another, and are nothing without one another. This is a day of happiness and welcoming. Support our brother." With that, he put his mask back on and walked to the closet on the other side of the room. He hesitated a moment, as if he was deciding what to do, before reaching in and retrieving a fire axe. He walks around the group and comes face to face with me. As he hands me the axe, he says that today is my day, and to do as I please. I could feel my pulse in the tips of my fingers as I closed my grip on the handle. I made my way up to the man being held down by my soon-to-be family. With all of their masks turned towards me, I could feel their support. It was a very comforting feeling, and I knew that I finally had some people in my life who I would do anything for. I paused for a moment, wanting to enjoy every second of this. I looked down at the man. He started begging for us to let him go. I started to wonder if he knew that being so vulnerable and playing the victim was not helping his cause. Then I thought, who cares what he thinks? I lifted the axe as high above my head as I could, and in one swift motion I slammed it down on his chest with everything I had. The sound of the blade shattering his bones and burying deep in his flesh was such an amazing experience. I had an almost out-of-body high and started swinging as fast and as hard as I could. After the second blow, my newly found family released the man and stood back. I don't know how long I hacked at that bloody pulp that used to be a man, but I only stopped because my arms couldn't lift the axe anymore. The entire room was drenched in blood. I could see it running down the walls and joining the main puddle I was standing in. I looked around the room and all at once the masks were removed from my family's faces and I was greeted with a welcoming smile. "Welcome, brother," I heard from behind. I turned around to see Sean's father handing me a mask. I smiled as I took it and placed it over my face, feeling a strong sense of purpose. The years following, our family grew larger, and we committed a lot of what we called cleansing to our wonderful planet. There are some people who walk among us that don't deserve to be on this planet. We simply find those who are undeserving of life and do what needs to be done. Some may call us heartless monsters, but in reality, we have a heart. Our heart just leads us towards something different in life. We do what most are too weak to do. We do what we must do to ensure that our family stays strong. I am not writing this as a warning. I'm not writing this to brag. I am writing this to let you know we are out there. We walk among you during the day, living our day-to-day life like everyone else. But at night, we do what needs to be done to rid the planet of trash. You won't catch us or know who we are unless we want you to. And by then, it's too late. Hello everybody, and thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. I wanted to go ahead and let you know the inspiration for this story. The story you just heard was inspired by a series on CryptTV. The series is called The Sunny Family Cult, and if you haven't checked it out, I would highly recommend it. There will be a link on the screen as well as in the description and in the comments. Make sure you go check out the series as well as the other videos on CryptTV's channel. And if you're unsure what kind of content CryptTV has, it's actually going to be something right up your alley. They do horror movie shorts, and I must say their production quality is top-notch. I really was surprised my first time watching it. I hope you go check it out and subscribe to them to stay up to date on their content. This was my first paid collaboration, and I couldn't have thought of a more fitting fit. So make sure you go check out CryptTV right now. This video is over, so go check it out. Check out the Sunny Family Cult. Check out the other stuff. Links will be found all around. And if you would like to help support the channel, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, hit the sponsor button if you want to be a sponsor. You get some cool badge emotes, all that good stuff when I'm streaming live, which I'm probably going to start a live stream here soon. Start it today, soon. Was there anything else I was going to say? Come back tomorrow. I'm going to have another video that I wrote and was heavily inspired by the Sunny Family Cult. The next video is actually going to be like a 2-part, so it's actually going to be 2 videos. But it's very long. And I tried to do the M. Night Shyamalan and add some twists. What a twist. I really hope you enjoyed this video. And once again, go check out CryptTV's channel. Make sure you subscribe to both of us. And I will catch you in the next one. And just remember to watch your back. Because you never know who or what is watching you.
I always feel like somebody's watching me. Ooh, and I can't help myself. Yeah, baby.
Welcome, brother.